Let me ask you something. Are you living by design or by default? Most people drift through life waiting for a lucky break, hoping things just work out. But hope is not a strategy. If you're tired of waiting for the perfect opportunity, it's time to realize something powerful. Your future is not in the hands of luck, your boss, or your past. It's in your hands. This isn't just motivation, it's your wake-up call. Because the truth is, you can create your own future starting today. Let's dive into how. Step 1, you are the architect of your life. You are the architect of your life. This means that your life is not a result of random events or external circumstances. It's a direct reflection of your decisions, your actions, your mindset, and your willingness to take control. Just like an architect begins with a vision, sketches a blueprint, and then constructs a building one brick at a time, you are constantly designing and building your life through every choice you make, no matter how small, every thought you dwell on, every habit you repeat, every decision you make contributes to the structure you're living in today. If your life isn't where you want it to be, it's not a sign of failure. It's a sign that you've been following a certain plan, whether intentionally or not. Some people drift through life without realizing they're still creating, just without direction. They react to problems, follow the crowd, do what's easy instead of what's necessary, and then wonder why they end up feeling stuck. But the truth is, you have the power to tear down walls that limit you. You can redesign your routines, reset your thinking, and rebuild your foundation. It doesn't matter where you started. It matters where you're willing to go from here. You don't need permission to do this work. You don't need ideal conditions. What you need is a decision to stop letting circumstances dictate the direction of your life. Just like a professional architect doesn't leave the construction of a building to chance, you can't afford to leave your future to chance either. An architect considers every angle, every material, every outcome. That same level of intentionality is what separates people who shape their lives from those who simply endure them. And here's a powerful truth. Once you accept that you're the one holding the blueprint, you also realize you're the one responsible for what gets built. This means you can revise the plan, you can rework the layout, you can upgrade your materials, your habits, your thinking, your environment. You don't need to keep living in the structure you've already built if it no longer fits the life you want. You are allowed to evolve. You are allowed to level up. You are allowed to walk away from the familiar and create something stronger, better, more aligned with who you're becoming. Step 2, clarity is power. Clarity is power. When you know exactly what you want, everything changes. Most people go through life without a clear destination. They wake up, go through the motions, handle whatever comes their way, and hope that somehow things will work out. But hope, while emotionally comforting, is not a strategy. Without clarity, you're like a ship at sea without a rudder, constantly tossed by the winds of distraction, doubt, and outside influence. You might be busy, but busyness doesn't equal progress. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters most, deliberately and with purpose. Clarity begins with asking yourself serious questions. What do I really want? What kind of life do I want to build? What does success mean to me? Not according to society, not according to other people's expectations, but based on my own values and vision. When you take the time to answer these questions honestly and specifically, you start creating a mental GPS. You start filtering out the noise. You begin to see what to say yes to, and just as importantly, what to say no to, When you're clear, your energy becomes focused. You stop wasting time on distractions, meaningless pursuits, and activities that look productive but actually lead nowhere. Clarity turns confusion into confidence. It gives you a target to aim at. And when you have a target, your mind and actions begin to organize around it. You start recognizing opportunities that align with your goal, and you begin to build momentum because you're no longer guessing, you're deciding. Written goals are one of the strongest tools for developing clarity. When you write something down, you take it from the realm of thought and bring it into form. It becomes tangible. You can see it, measure it, work toward it. And the more specific your goals are, quantified, time-bound, visualized, the more your subconscious mind starts working on them behind the scenes. It begins filtering information, noticing patterns, and nudging you toward choices that support your outcome. Clarity also builds resilience. When obstacles show up, and they always do, you don't quit easily because you know exactly why you're doing what you're doing. You have a reason, a focus, a compelling vision that keeps you grounded. Unclear people tend to give up quickly because they weren't deeply connected to anything meaningful in the first place. They were moving, but not in any particular direction. They lacked an internal compass. The clearer your goals, the faster you move. Clarity accelerates progress because it cuts through indecision and fear. It removes the mental clutter and helps you focus your time, your energy, and your attention on what truly matters. You stop chasing everything and start building something. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. Clarity gives your life structure. It acts as a guide when you're faced with difficult choices. When you're clear, you're not easily distracted by other people's plans because you have your own. You're not tempted to constantly compare yourself because you know your path. Step 3, take 100% responsibility. Take 100% responsibility. This is one of the most powerful, life-changing decisions you can ever make. It means that everything in your life right now, your results, your habits, your relationships, your career, your health, is a direct outcome of choices you've made and actions you've taken. It doesn't mean that everything is your fault, but it does mean that you are responsible for how you respond to everything. It means giving up blame entirely. No more pointing fingers. No more waiting for someone else to fix things. No more hoping that someone will come along and rescue you or give you a break. You become the source, not the victim. When you take full responsibility, you take back your power. You stop saying, I can't because of, and start asking, how can I? You stop letting your past define you. You stop giving power to other people's behavior, to circumstances, or to external events. This mindset creates a sharp dividing line between those who rise and those who remain stuck. Because as long as you believe something outside of you is in control, you'll stay trapped by it. You can't change what you don't claim ownership of. Taking 100% responsibility forces you to face the truth that no one is coming to make your life better for you. If you want change, it starts with your decisions. If you want growth, it starts with your willingness to be honest about where you are and what you have allowed. There's a moment when you look in the mirror and say, where I am is a reflection of the standards I've set and the actions I've taken. That moment might sting because once you own it, you can change it. This level of personal accountability isn't common. It's far easier to blame circumstances, your upbringing, the economy, your boss, your partner, your education, your genetics. But that comfort and blame is short-lived. It gives you a story to tell, but robs you of the ability to rewrite the ending. When you accept 100% responsibility, you no longer need to wait for ideal conditions. You no longer need anyone's permission to succeed. You begin to realize that your environment, while influential, is not your destiny. Your choices are stronger than your circumstances if you choose them with awareness and courage. It also means being responsible for your emotions, not just your actions. When something upsets you, it's easy to say, they made me angry. But the truth is, you chose your reaction. You interpreted the situation in a way that produced that emotion. And just as you chose that, you can train yourself to respond instead of react. You can develop emotional discipline that supports your growth instead of sabotaging it. Taking responsibility also means recognizing your role in your current results, financially, physically, emotionally. It means looking at your life and asking, what did I do to create this? And what can I do to change it? Even when something unfair happens, you still control how long you let it control you. You still control what meaning you assign to it. You still control whether you use it as a reason to grow or a reason to give up. This mindset doesn't make you invincible. It doesn't prevent obstacles, setbacks, or pain, but it puts you in the position of strength every single time. Because when you believe that your choices shape your future, you no longer wait, you act, you no longer wish, you plan, you no longer make excuses, you make progress. Step 4, act as if it were impossible to fail. Act as if it were impossible to fail. This mindset is not about arrogance or delusion. It's about stepping into your full potential by removing the mental limitations that hold you back before you even start. Fear of failure is one of the most common reasons people never take action. They hesitate, procrastinate, or overthink every move, waiting for the perfect moment or absolute certainty. But the truth is, there is no perfect moment, and certainty only comes after action, not before it. When you act as if it were impossible to fail, you begin to access a deeper level of confidence and creativity. You start thinking in terms of solutions, not problems. You stop asking, what if it doesn't work? And instead ask, what if it does? You begin to operate from possibility, not limitation. This way of thinking doesn't guarantee success in every situation, but it guarantees that you'll show up fully with energy and commitment instead of holding back and sabotaging yourself from the start. Most people underestimate what they're capable of because they measure their potential by their current situation or past experiences. But when you act as if failure isn't even on the table, you begin to bypass those self-imposed limits. You try things you normally wouldn't. You take bigger risks, not reckless risks, but intelligent ones, because you're not paralyzed by the idea of falling short. You present yourself more boldly. You speak with conviction. You start projects. Ask for opportunities. Put yourself in rooms you once thought you didn't belong in. You stop waiting for the stars to align and start moving toward your goals with the assumption that progress is inevitable. This attitude also shapes how others perceive you. Confidence is magnetic. When you carry yourself like someone who expects to win, others begin to believe in you more. They trust your vision. They want to support your mission. The world doesn't reward hesitation. It responds to clarity, conviction, and courage. And when you act with those traits, you create momentum, and momentum creates opportunity. There's a psychological shift that happens when you remove fear as a factor. You begin to experiment more freely. You start seeing failure not as an endpoint, but as a data point. You understand that mistakes are part of the process, not a reason to quit. And with that understanding, Your tolerance for discomfort increases. You stop being afraid of being uncomfortable because you know that every step into the unknown is a step toward growth. You begin to build resilience, not because nothing goes wrong, but because you've trained yourself to keep going no matter what. Acting as if it were impossible to fail is also about aligning your behavior with your vision. If you truly believed success was inevitable, how would you show up today? What decisions would you make? Who would you call? What would you start, say, or pursue without hesitation? This mindset compels you to act now, not later. It quiets the inner critic and strengthens the inner leader. It moves you out of wishful thinking and into powerful doing. You stop negotiating with fear and start cooperating with your potential. Step 5, discipline determines destiny. Your life does not unfold based on what you hope for, what you dream about, or what you say you want. It unfolds based on what you do consistently. Discipline is the bridge between your goals and your results. It's not about being perfect or never making mistakes. It's about having the ability to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like it. It's the daily decision to choose long-term gain over short-term comfort, to act on principle instead of impulse, and to stick to your plan even when distractions try to pull you away. Most people underestimate the power of small actions repeated over time. They think success comes from one big break, one lucky moment, or one major effort. But the truth is, your future is shaped in the quiet moments, when no one is watching, when there's no applause, when it would be easier to coast. It's shaped by your habits, your routines, your standards. Discipline is what keeps you on course when motivation fades. It's what turns intentions into results and vision into reality. Everything you want, health, wealth, strong relationships, personal growth, it all requires discipline. Want to be in great shape? That takes the discipline to eat right, train regularly, and rest properly. Want to build financial independence? That takes the discipline to budget, invest, delay gratification, and stay focused on your goals instead of chasing every new temptation. Want to build a meaningful career? That takes the discipline to keep learning, show up fully, deliver value, and keep going even when the path is unclear. Discipline gives you structure in a world full of distractions. It acts like a protective boundary around your goals, keeping your energy focused and your progress steady. Without it, even the best plans fall apart. With it, you can overcome obstacles that would derail most people. You build resilience because discipline strengthens your mental muscles. It trains you to endure discomfort in service of something greater. It's not about being rigid or never having fun. It's about making choices that align with the life you say you want. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, every time you show up, even when it's hard, you reinforce your identity as someone who follows through. That builds confidence, that builds trust in yourself, and over time that self-trust becomes one of your most valuable assets because it tells you, I can rely on me. Discipline also creates freedom. It seems like a paradox, but it's true. When you're disciplined, you're not at the mercy of your moods. You're not reactive, you're proactive. You can say no to what doesn't serve you because you're clear on what you're building. And that kind of control over your behavior leads to control over your outcomes. People who lack discipline often live in chaos, not because they're unlucky, but because they haven't developed the habits that create order, direction, and results. In the long run, your discipline is far more important than your talent. Talent can open a door, but discipline is what keeps you walking through it. Talent might give you a head start, but discipline determines whether you finish the race. It's the one quality that levels the playing field. It's the quiet force behind every extraordinary life. Step 6, visualize and affirm daily. Visualize and affirm daily. Your mind is constantly shaping your reality, and the thoughts you feed it repeatedly influence how you feel, what you believe, and ultimately how you behave. Visualization and affirmation are not just feel-good exercises, they are practical tools for reprogramming your subconscious mind to align with the life you want to create. What you see internally and what you say to yourself consistently begins to form the foundation of your external results. If you can see it clearly and feel it deeply, and you're far more likely to move toward it with confidence and intention. Visualization is about creating a vivid mental image of your desired outcome, seeing yourself already in possession of the goal, already living the life you're working toward. When done with consistency and emotion, your brain begins to interpret that image as reality. It starts filtering your experiences through that lens. You become more alert to opportunities that match your vision. You begin to act in ways that support that image, even unconsciously. This is because the mind doesn't always distinguish between what is vividly imagined and what is real. It responds to the dominant mental pictures you hold when you imagine success over and over again. Your nervous system becomes familiar with it, and fear of the unknown starts to shrink. Affirmations work alongside visualization by reinforcing new beliefs through language. Every day, most people affirm something, whether they realize it or not. They say things like, "I'm always late. I can't lose weight. I never have enough money. I'm not good at this." These are affirmations. They're just negative ones. And over time, the repetition of these phrases becomes identity. But when you flip the script and begin affirming positive, empowering truths, even if they feel unfamiliar at first, you begin to reshape that identity. You affirm not who you've been, but who you are becoming. Statements like, "I am disciplined and focused. I attract opportunities through my actions. I handle challenges with strength and clarity," gradually become your new internal narrative. This process isn't magic, it's neurological conditioning. Repetition creates familiarity, and familiarity creates belief. The more you visualize and affirm your desired outcomes, the more natural it becomes to act in alignment with them. You raise your internal standard. You condition your mind to expect progress. Your behavior begins to match that expectation. It's important to note that this practice is not passive. You don't just visualize and affirm and then wait. You do it to prepare your mind for bold, consistent action. You use it to program your focus. You use it to redirect your energy when doubt or fear tries to creep in. You use it as a tool to keep your vision front and center, especially on the days when motivation is low or setbacks arise. Daily visualization and affirmation also increase emotional clarity. When you see yourself achieving your goals in your mind, you tap into the feelings associated with success, confidence, pride, peace, freedom. These emotions are powerful motivators. They give you a reason to persist. They make the process more meaningful, and they remind you that the journey is not just about achieving a result, but about becoming the kind of person who lives that result every single day. As you leave here today, remember this: your future is not written in stone. It's written by the choices you make starting now. You have the power to create your own future, one decision, one habit one courageous step at a time. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Start where you are. Use what you have. And move with the belief that you are capable of shaping a life that reflects your highest vision. The tools are in your hands. Take full responsibility. Stay disciplined. Think clearly. Act boldly. And see yourself as already becoming who you were meant to be. Because the future you're dreaming of isn't waiting for someone else. It's waiting for you.